And we are live on Facebook here. It's the real estate debate. Got a great one lined up for you today. Hottest topics in San Diego real estate is what we're going to be debating on this live Zoom call. You can drop your comments in if you have questions, comments, etc. We are live on Facebook. This will be on YouTube as well. So feel free to reach out to us if you have questions about anything we're going to discuss. Main idea here is to help you get educated, peel back the curtain about what's going on in the San Diego real estate market. And I've got some of my good friends joining us today. We'll say hi to Leslie Ratliff. How you doing, Leslie?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Great to have you here from Keller Williams in El Cajon, correct?
Yep.
Awesome. It's terrific to have you here.
Yeah.
Sarah Halliburton is also here. Sarah, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Terrific to have you. And you're also with you're with Dan Beer. Dan Beer
Yes,
team.
I'm with Beer Home Team with EXP.
You've seen his billboards on the highway, I'm sure. And my homeboy is here as well. Jay Lee. What's going on, Jay?
What's good?
Keller Williams Metro representing. Got the Lee Home Team logo shirt going today.
Yeah, you know.
Well,
that's why I wear these every day, man. Even when I'm off, they're comfortable. So, I mean.
And
hey,
you're a walking billboard. There you go.
You do you, Jay. You do you. Let's jump right in here. Let's go to our first topic. And I think this is the one that's really on everybody's mind. Agree or disagree? And Leslie, we're going to start with you. The red hot real estate market is just getting warmed up and a slowdown is nowhere in sight. Agree or disagree?
I wholeheartedly agree. I do. And I'll tell you why I agree. Because year over year, inventory is down, and we've got that perfect storm of right now we have very low inventory, very low interest rates, and it's going to take a while for inventory to catch up. I mean, we've been in a seller's market for 7 years now. I mean, really. And it's going to take a while for that to catch up. So, I mean, just year over year in July of 19, the months of inventory was 3.1 for San Diego County, down to 1.5 in July of 20.
1.5.
So I just think that's with our low interest rates staying probably this way at least through the end of the year. I just don't see a slowdown in our real estate market.
Okay, so interest rates, inventory, what you're leaning on. Leslie agrees. Sarah, what do you think?
I agree. I think other parts of the country might see a slowdown in some parts. I also think certain types of real estate might see a slowdown. So I feel like there's more condo inventory now than there is single family, and that's what I'm seeing. But I think as a whole, San Diego is so inventory lacking. And we have so many positive things that bring people here to buy, right? So between the military, which, you know, they spend money every recession, and between biotech, we're number 3 in the country for biotech. And so all of these different things that come into San Diego County are what contribute to the low housing inventory, because it's such a highly desired place to live. Plus, we're the lowest, most affordable, we'll say, on the coast from San Francisco all the way down. And so it's only a matter of time before the prices here reach that San Fran kind of price point.
Yeah.
And
lowest priced and best weather of all of those places along that coast. We have the best weather and the lowest prices. Doesn't make sense. The market is figuring that out, it appears. Jay, what do you think about this? Is this the seller's market just getting started?
I wouldn't say just getting started. Well, like, you know, Sarah said, 7 years, right? It's been going on a long time. It's just getting started. Would have been like 6 months ago. We've been in this for a hot minute, and, you know, we're 250,000 homes short of what's needed in San Diego County. Just for, you know, the population that's growing right now. I mean, year over year, as the government moves troops from East Coast to West Coast, as the support staff come, tech moves down, you know, as Sarah said, biotech, you know, everything that we have growing here, the incentives that San Diego County is offering those startup companies up in, you know, Silicon Valley to move here. You know, it's not a beginning. Like, it's been that way. It's just getting worse. You know, and as a buyer in this market, you have to understand that you either got to come strong or don't come at all.
Yeah, it's pointless to write offers under list, you know, in this market, which is a normal thing for buyers to think would be, you know, a sensible thing to do. Oh, it's listed for $699. Let's write them for $689. But you may as well just not even do it. It's really a waste of time. But you made a good point, Jay, which is, and what I've seen is San Diego has become sort of a magnet for people who want to live a good life. Mm-hmm. We really have a great life opportunity here in this area. And for people who are in certain areas that haven't been doing so well, San Francisco is one that's come up a couple of times. We've seen a lot of people migrating here because of the work from home possibilities and because of just what's going on up there is not good. And that, you know, San Francisco is like 3 times as expensive as San Diego. It makes no sense. It's never made sense. But now it really doesn't make sense. So I'm actually, you know, I agree as well on this one, which is I'm very rarely this bullish, especially when some people would say, oh, we're at a top or we've been riding the coattails of this low interest rate environment for so long. I think it's just getting started. I think the cat is finally out of the bag. And when you add remote work opportunity to the table, because remember, this is a countrywide thing. I mean, people who live in New York can now live in San Diego and do their job in New York and get paid their New York salary. And that goes for the whole country. There's a bunch of people like that.
At the same time, people can move from San Diego and go somewhere else and get a San Diego salary and live in another place a lot more comfortably. We've got people moving out to come back too.
They tend to come back when they do that. I've had several clients who are, I call them comebackers, because they went and bought that house in North Carolina. It sounded like a great idea. Hey, I'm going to buy this house in North Carolina for $250,000. And 1 year later, I want to blow my brains out because I know what the San Diego life is.
Yeah.
I can't go back after that. So it's true. You're right. People can go and move to Indiana now, you know, making their San Diego money, but it doesn't take long for them to realize that that wasn't a smart move, in my opinion.
I wouldn't call it living more comfortably. Like, there's no better weather than San Diego. And I mean, we haven't even talked about the food yet.
Oh, well, yeah, if food and weather are your comfort, then yes, we got it. If it's it's a whole other deal.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You're talking about finances,
and you can't get our tacos anywhere else.
No, nowhere. I'll fight somebody who says their tacos are better than San Diego. Those are fighting words.
Well, it's true. You know, you can go to some places in the country and you can buy $100,000 house, but I just don't think after you've lived the San Diego life, unless you're a total recluse, which is fine if you are. Listen, people who are introverted this is their time to shine. Now, for the next 20 years, everything's going to be okay for them. They don't have to go to the office anymore. A lot of these options, companies are going to have both options. There's going to be an in-office culture, and then there's going to be a remote culture. And they're going to have to sort of marry that within their company. And people going to work for places will have both options, I think. And that's going to be the new normal. And that's great. But I do think San Diego wins for a long time, at least for a double of what real estate prices are now. Then maybe you'll see that taper off. But between now and then, I think that's going to really fuel it. So I'm actually that bullish as everybody else is. So next one, Sarah, we'll go first. You'll be first on this one. This is just an open-ended question. How important are open houses in the real estate market in San Diego? We've kind of been shut down from open houses for a couple months now, and the market has done really well. So do we need open houses? Are they important? Do they matter?
I think from the perspective of a listing agent and seller perspective, I think open houses allow the seller more convenience in showing their homes. So they know that a block of time from 1 to 4, buyers will be coming in, the house is clean, the kids are gone, the dog is put away. And so it's easier for them to be able to show their home in the best environment. Other than that, now with distance learning and with working from home, you've got someone that wants to see the house at 3 o'clock on a Tuesday. It's not as accessible. It's not as easy. So I do think that we lose some of the convenience of the open house platform just in showing and being able to get people into the home. And also I think it allowed a lot of people to explore different neighborhoods that they wouldn't normally look at. With everyone searching through algorithms, they're used to kind of creating this perimeter in this box, right? So if they say, I only want to live in Rancho San Diego, then that's all that they're looking at. And I think the open houses, as you're driving through Rancho San Diego and you see this sign and you're like, well, let's just go check it out. So it allowed people to explore newer options outside of just what they saw online.
Okay.
And so those are the two things I think that we're missing with no open houses.
Okay, that makes sense. Jay, what do you think? Do we need open houses back to complete the circle of the San Diego real estate market here?
Man, this is gonna sound so evil, but no, not at all.
No.
And I mean, I would like them to come back just because of so not coming from it as from the listing side or anything, but like, when I list a home now, I put it up on showing time for 2 days for a 5-hour block every 15 minutes, and it's packed. And then I have 15, 20 offers within the next 24 hours. Like, I don't need open houses, right? What open houses does is it allows my buyer's agents to pick up buyers who are unrepresented. So it does work, and it works great to get new clients that are unrepresented, who are just kind of window shopping, and you can close them. And then from that point, get more business. But at the same time, we have virtual showing. So if that's, if you set up a Zoom link and put it in the MLS, it shows up on Redfin, Zillow, everywhere else. People just click that Zoom link for the open house to show up at a certain time. You can still get unrepresented buyers that way. It's just a little bit harder to close them. But if you, have your script down and, you can provide a value, you can do that. But we have to look at it as in, are we going to let this pandemic, whatever it is you want to call it, and the restrictions that we have, shut our business down? Or are we going to evolve and go tech-based and move forward? Because you can buy a car online now without ever seeing the car, right? Eventually, it's going to be like that with houses, where you can just buy the house, and if you don't like it, you can return it within 3 days. Like, there's gonna, like, that kind of evolution is gonna happen. I mean, Amazon's gonna start selling houses, for God's sakes. I mean, it's, we either evolve or we become a dinosaur. So do we need it? No. Would it be nice? Yes.
Okay, that's fair enough. I think that's a very honest answer, which is awesome. And, I see that too, personally. Leslie, what do you think from an open house perspective? Is this something that's missing? Is there a hole in the bucket because of this?
Well, I really like what Sarah's point with open houses allows buyers to explore new neighborhoods. I had never really thought of that, but I do not think that they're necessary. They're important for the real estate market for our clients, but I do think they are important for us getting new business, because that's kind of, I'm much better face-to-face with people, and that's usually how I win them. So I like the open houses for that reason, but for my clients, no. And to Sarah's point of, having that showing time, we've kind of, I think the real estate industry has done a really good job of evolving through this COVID thing and setting up safe showings. And so on my last couple of listings, we just blocked out one day. We listed the house on like a Tuesday, let it go on the market for 2 days, and said we're scheduling first showings on Thursday. And Thursday was full from 9 to 8 at night, and the sellers just took off. So it's kind of does the same thing as an open house. Plus you get all, and the other thing an open house did was, if you held off, which was a tactic that a lot of agents do, listed on Wednesday and do your first showing. Now everybody's coming through, and it creates that, oh my gosh, there's a lot of people interested in this house. It was a marketing tactic that we all used, and it was a great one. And you can still do that using these same appointments, shown by appointment only. You're not getting people without agents through, but you are creating that, still creating that need that, everybody likes this house, and so we got to put in an offer now type of thing.
Yeah, no, that definitely makes sense. And I'll give you my 2 cents, and then I'll open the floor to a follow-up question, because I think that I do think open houses are important. And I hate for us to be in a situation where the powers that be might just say, this is never happening again. I mean, I think there's things that we aren't realizing right now, or haven't realized yet, that are never going to happen again. Like, I was wondering, when's the next time we're going to go to a baseball game, or something like that? Is that ever going to happen again?
Right. What about concert?
Yeah, a concert. I mean, are these things done? And so, I look at open house, I'm like, we need to protect that, because I do think it's good. Maybe in a super strong seller's market like we're in right now, maybe it's not as important, because it's really easy to get appointments. It's really easy to have demand there. But what if it shifts a little bit? What if it's not so hot? What if we do need some additional, marketing opportunities? What if buyers do need more opportunities? Because the reason buyers like open houses is because it's non-committal. They can stop by, they do have to sign in or whatever, but they can still sort of control what's going on. They don't have to commit yet, but they can see, people need to get interested in their own timeline, in their own way. And so I think that's something we don't want to take away. For me personally, that's what I think. But if we were in a different market though, would your answers change?
Well, definitely. If it was a buyer's market, like you're going to want as many people to see the house as possible just to try to get it sold. With it is right now, like if you don't go see a house in the first 2 days of it going live or the first 2 days of it being listed, you're not getting it. It's gone.
Yeah, I think what I think is really important is buyers have the ability to go through and also shop for agents as well. If they're not represented, this gives buyers the opportunity to meet and see which agents they fit with as they're going through an open house. And even sellers will go through and choose agents at open houses as well. It's a way for the clients to interview you. And when you take those away, I think you do a disservice to the people of the community. You and I closed one earlier this year that was off of an open house. I got the client off an open house, and she had an agent that wasn't helping her, that didn't know how to help her. And we got them in a home in just a couple of months. So I think if she hadn't had that opportunity at an open house to meet an agent that was going to really advocate for her, then I think we're doing our clients a disservice.
They'd still be looking, probably.
They'd still be looking. They'd still be told they don't qualify, right?
Yeah, don't qualify, and good luck getting an offer accepted without a seasoned professional on your side on this market.
Yeah.
I mean, even if you do, it's still tough out there for sure. Sarah, do you have thoughts on that?
I guess my initial thought on that was not specific to this market, actually, because this market is so unique. And like Jay said, you put it on showing time for 2 days. I mean, Derrick, you and I just won one over 36 other offers. I mean, and we saw it day one, so I think this market's a little bit unique, but I think once it shifts a little bit and maybe pricing changes or it does become more of a buyer's market, I do think that we're going to want those open houses back. And to your point, Derrick, I think that there's still a lot of buyers that don't know what to look for, number one, in a house when they're starting their search. And they definitely don't know an agent. They're clicking on tour with Redfin agent, tour with Zillow agent. Like they don't have the knowledge yet to like really be able to navigate that or even what to look for.
Terrific point. Where do you begin? And when you don't know, you don't know. So you just start clicking buttons. I mean, that's what people do nowadays. It's just, all right, let me just click around and I'll try to click my way to the promised land. And, it definitely doesn't work that way. And I think real estate's always going to be a personal business, but I think we do need to keep our antenna up for the open house scenario. We do need to advocate for it because the market won't always be this way. And you know how hard it is to unlegislate things. We just have to be careful that they don't, drop the hammer on this forever. Because at the end of the day, we're still bringing these people to the house. They're still going to get there. Is it being more organized, more sanitary? Good, sure, of course. But let's find a smart way to keep the open house in play. Is my 2 cents. Jay, going to start with you on this one. True or false? Home buyers right now who've decided to stay on the sidelines during the frenzy could be a smart move. What do you think about that?
Okay, that was like a 2 questions. So is buyers staying on the sidelines true or false, or is it true or false that they should stay on the sideline?
Home buyers who've decided and made the decision that, you know what, I'm going to sit out right now because there's frenzy that's going on. I want to let this pass. Is that a smart move? True or false?
No, it's not a smart move. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Nobody reacted. They just kind of.
We were waiting for you to be like, why?
No.
Like,
okay. Well,
We're
you're saying
waiting
it's a
for
smart move.
further.
So I will elaborate. The reason it's not a smart move is we have no idea what the future holds. The 4 of us sitting right here, we're all successful. We all do this on a daily basis, full-time professionally. And all of our, comrades out there who are as well doing this are doing the same thing. There's 42,000 realtors in San Diego, 900 are active. And of that 900, to be in the top 20%, you have to sell one house per year. So that just tells you there's not a lot of real estate agents out there. So all these people that are spewing this, oh, don't buy now, probably have no idea anything about real estate. So if you think about it, there's only like 600 to 700 real estate agents that are really doing any business. And, you know, if you sell 5 homes, you're in the top 1% or 20%. No, 5%, top 5%, right? So someone's spewing that, you know, stay out of the frenzy, doesn't know what they're talking about. The interest rate right now, if you bought a house last year, you'd have been about $100,000 less on your purchasing power compared to what's happening right now. So even with the equity and inflation and everything else is going on, you're still winning, right? You're able to buy a house $100,000 more than what you would have bought last year with the same payment. Now, what does that tell you? That tells you that, okay, houses have gone up. We know this. They haven't gone up $100,000 though. So let's say they go up $30,000, which is a good chunk, right? You know, if it's gone up $30,000, but you can buy $100,000 more, you're gaining $70,000 in buying power, even with the equity calculated in. So sitting on the sideline, letting this ride with this interest rate, like everybody kind of talks about it hush hush under the table, you know, in the back corner, you know, having a cocktail, and everybody's like, we're waiting for after the election, right? Wait till after the election, see what happens, right? We don't know what's going to happen. Rates could shoot up to 7%. None of us will know, right? They could drop to 0.2%. We have no idea. But what we do know is that it's an all-time low right now. It's unprecedented, historically never happened. So if you don't want to take advantage of something that's never happened before, in the off chance it gets even better, what's more likely, that it'll get better or that it get worse, right? I'm saying it's probably going to get worse at some point in the future. We're not going to have these amazing rates anymore. They're eventually going to go away. And if you wait too long and the house prices keep going up and they go back up to where they were in the 80s, and you're at 15 to 17%, and now houses in San Diego for a 3-bed, 2-bath, 1,500 square foot is now $3 million. You're not living in San Diego anymore. You are now in Indiana or Texas or Oklahoma, you know, somewhere else where you can actually afford to live. So yeah, take advantage now. 100%.
If you don't think it's possible for house prices to go that high, just everyone go on your favorite real estate website and look up Los Gatos, California. And you'll see what a 3-2, 1,100 square feet for $2 million looks like. And it's not as cool as San Diego. And people are figuring that out. What do you think about this one, Leslie? True or false? The question is, and the statement is, you know, home buyers, and there's some people who want to buy, they've decided to stay on the sidelines because they think this frenzy is just too much. That's a smart move, true or false?
Well, I'm going to say it depends. If they are not able to be in the house for at least 2 years, I would say don't get in right now. But if they're in there for the long term, this is their home, they're going to be there in the next 5 to 10 years. I tell everybody, don't wait. I had a friend last year that said, I know the market's going to go down. And last year in July, the median home price was $575. And she says, it's going to go down. And I said, I don't think so. And she says, nope, my husband and I are going to wait. Now the median home price is $635. They could have had 10% equity, increase in their equity, had they bought last year. So right now, people are saying, okay, now I'm going to wait because prices are going to adjust. We had a 10% increase. Well, okay, let's say it adjusts just down 5%. Okay, let's say, you know, prices go down 5%. So that 635 is now 600. So you're the loan guy, a 635 loan at 2.9%. Your payment's going to be about 34.68, let's say. Okay, that same house a year later, if it goes down 5%, 600, but your interest rate is now 3.5% because they could go up 0.5%. That's your payment's now $34.28. That's a difference of $40. How long are you going to wait, Mr. or Mrs. Seller, to start investing in your future? That's my line all the time.
I like what you said there, because really, if you have a 2-year time horizon, to be in a real estate deal. That's pretty much a flip. It's like a house hack flip, but you're trying to just like get your capital gains washed out. So that's really, you're trying to time the market, and good luck to you. I'll say prayers for you. But if you do buy real estate with the right intention in mind, the long-term mindset, I think you always need to do that in order for it to be something that you can feel super confident about. If you have a shorter term time frame, then your game plan needs to be built around still that 10-year time horizon. So if we're only going to be here a couple of years, which happens, hey, we might only be here a couple of years. You could, okay, well then we need to make sure that you're prepared for an exit strategy in 2 years, if regardless of what is going on in the market. Sarah, what do you think about this? I know we've both talked to some people who are in this camp of, I got to wait and see how things play out with the COVID. Let's see how things play out with the election. There's always something to wait and see how it plays out in there.
I think that there's a lot of chatter, we'll call it chatter, about forbearance, and like there's going to be this flood of foreclosures and short sales, and it's going to be just like the last recession. Well, there's two things. Number one, you're not going to be the only buyer waiting there. And number two, you're probably not going to have cash. Like there's going to be foreign investors all over, if that were to happen, that are going to snag up those properties before you're going to be able to. Number one. Number two, you always have two things to consider: the price of the home and the price of the money to buy the home. So when I bought my house in 2018, the interest rates were 4.6. That was my interest rate. And they were up to almost 5%. So I got a good deal, or at least I thought I did. And so although my house was less in price, my payment is the same as my client who's buying $200,000 more with a 2% interest rate as opposed to 4.6. So I think it has to be that, like Leslie said, it has to be real estate's long-term investment. They're not making any more land here in San Diego. And so it's something that you buy and hold, and you find something that you live in, and it might not be your forever home. I deal with clients all the time. I just sold 2 last year, and they're already ready to upgrade because they just wanted to get into the market when they could. And now they have $75,000 in equity over 1 year, and now they can buy that next level house. So yeah. I always recommend to my client, if it's long-term for you, then, price of the home, price of the money to buy the home. When money is cheap, you're getting more home. That makes more sense. Money's on sale right now. Go with the money.
It's a fire sale.
It is. It really is. And some people, have been saying things like, well, it's artificial. The Fed is lowering rates with billions of dollars a day. That's really not right. That's causing stocks to go too high. It's causing real estate prices to go too high. It's inflationary. So people are saying it's inflationary. And I understand that. But here's the trouble, regardless of how much you want to devil's advocate this. The idea behind waiting can really put you in a pickle. So you had better be right, because if you aren't, it's super expensive. And for the last 10 years, everyone who said, well, wait until next year has gotten bad news next year. And so then what do? You've now waited a whole year. You've thrown money away at rent for a whole year. It's cost you even more money than the money you've thrown away at rent because prices have gone up. So when do you now bite the bullet? When do you come hat in hand and go, okay, I submit, I'm in? Because you start putting yourself in a worse position when you wait. And that's what we've noticed for the past decade, that the cost of waiting has been so expensive. I have a client right now who's been renting for the last 11 years and lost a home and has been renting ever since for 11 years. During that 11 years, the place that she's been in has tripled in value. Tripled. Hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars in equity has accrued. Hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars we're talking about here. So for the people who held their nose and bought in 10 and 11 and 12, they've made a fortune. An absolute fortune.
When it was a bad time to buy, right?
When it was a bad time to buy.
Yeah.
That's right. People were scared. People are always scared. Listen, when people tell the stories all the time, well, my grandpa bought this house for $5,000 and now it's worth $150,000. Yeah, but when your grandpa bought the house for $5,000, it was still a lot of money.
It was.
He and his wife were still like, this is so much, $5,000. How are we going to ever pay this off? It always seems like a lot of money. Real estate does. One of the best real estate investments. You guys watch $1 Million Listing Los Angeles?
No. I do.
serious. I know Josh
Those
Altman,
shows.
and there's a property there that this company or this couple bought in Costa Mesa, and it's a block from the ocean, and it's on a couple acres, and it's worth 14 million. They bought it, but they bought it for 4 million in 1992. In 1992, properties for 4 million. I mean, I can't even imagine what options you would have had. So it always seems like it's expensive, is my point. Psychologically, we have to remind ourselves of the fact that it always feels like it's a lot, no matter what. It never feels cheap to buy real estate. We just have to look at the trend. You just have to look at the macro elements, and the cost of the waiting can be very, very expensive. And that's been the case.
And if you wait, you just keep going backwards. You pigeonhole yourself saying, I'm going to wait more, because now everybody's saying, like Sarah was saying, we're going to wait until all those foreclosures hit the market, right? And we're going to have, like we did back in 2011, when we had all those short sales and everything.
Yep.
They think that's going to happen again. But the problem is people aren't upside down in their houses like they were then.
That's right.
Right? Because values keep going up. So we're not going to, will there be some? Yes. Are we going to have a flood of them? No. And like Sarah said, investors they're looking for properties all over the place. They can't find them. When those hit the market, they are going to just be gobbled up by all the investors. That's right. I'm telling you.
Yep.
But you always have those people that say, but I'm going to be the one that gets the deal. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. I know that your FHA offer will definitely win that one. But the thing is, the myths of I'm sorry, we all experience the same thing. I just want to keep it real. I just want to keep it real for a minute. So
asking for closing costs, right?
Yeah, they'll give me 10 grand back for sure. The myth of the shadow inventory. Remember last time they told us that too? It was the foreclosures hit. We all felt that, but then there was this shadow inventory myth that kept getting perpetrated. It's the big, huge Wall Street investment firms that perpetrate those, by the way, because they bought billions of dollars of just San Diego real estate. Just BlackRock bought like $3 billion worth of San Diego real estate. Wall Street loves to perpetrate those things once they know the bottom's in, so that they can actually buy these things up, securitize them, make them part of their portfolio, and sell investments into them. So they essentially sell bonds to their own investors inside of those portfolios. So they will perpetrate that and tell us, and you're going to keep hearing that. Oh, it's coming, forbearance.
Yeah, it's coming.
Foreclosures, shadow inventory, look out, because they want prices to suppress once they know the bottom's in. Now, we're not, I don't think, at that point yet, but, just be mindful of that. And something you said there also rang with me, Leslie, that's like, when you wait, you put yourself in a pickle. You really do, because if prices go up, now you feel like a dummy. And so you still have to justify yourself and go, well, I'll wait it's one more year, and then it'll be where I thought it would be. And if prices go down, then you once again, you go, well, I need to wait now. They're going to keep going down. I'm going to wait till they get to the bottom. So you just put yourself in this weird scenario where what does the perfect scenario actually look like? To me, it would look like a situation in which you're able to borrow the money cheap, and you have a lot of confidence that San Diego isn't going out of style. And I feel like, San Diego isn't going out of style, and the money's cheap. So that's what I'm at.
San Diego really is the place to be. I mean, with our military, with all the things we have to do, and I saw that the population went up 9.4% from 2009 to 2019, and the national average was 6%. So people are moving to San Diego.
Well, Leslie, the crazy part about the population growth is, for the first time, it's not growth through outsiders coming in. It's growth from internal San Diegans booming. Families are getting bigger and all of that. So before, when we had the transplants, okay. But now we're growing so substantially from within our own city that there's not going to be any more room. Like, you're not going to
We're landlocked. It's going to become infill projects. Scrape down a thing and scrape down a house and put up 2 condos. That's what they're doing in Imperial Beach.
Yep.
They're scraping all those houses. They're putting 2 condos on there. It's going to be all infill, and those condos are going crazy. I'm telling you. So
they will. What's unfortunate when they do that sort of little title hack is that it makes those properties ineligible for VA because it's essentially an HOA with no HOA.
Yep.
And so there's nothing to approve and you can't do VA. So it's unfortunate. It's good for the builders. They're able to infill and actually make some money, and they need to be able to make money, and they're able to put good products out there. So that's cool. Let's jump into what should be, I think, the most interesting topic of them all today, most undervalued area. And I think this is important because, as we mentioned before, sometimes people get a little too laser locked into one area. We do have a different market now where a lot of people are able to work from home. So location is less important than it's ever been for a lot of buyers out there. And they're really just looking for the right house. So let's talk about what area of San Diego is the most undervalued, and tell us why. Leslie, we'll start with you.
Oh, I was hoping you wouldn't start with me. This is okay. You're probably all going to think I'm absolutely crazy for the area I picked. But I picked it for a couple reasons. So one, I'm actually starting to look for houses down here for my daughter and her husband. So we're looking for a good area for them right now. I don't know if they're coming soon or what, but it's been fun looking around. So I'm going to say dun, 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 Vista.
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 I like it.
Now, here's why I chose Vista, okay? In Vista, you can get a gated community, and it's listed at $575. That's a nice gated community with low HOAs. For $610,000, you can find a great house that's only 5 miles from the beach. A lot of areas of Vista border like Carlsbad and, right in there. You can get a 4.3, 2,300 square foot house. It's on the market for $635,500. These are all ones that I found today. And you can get a brand new build, 3.3, 1,800 for $672,000. We can't do that in East County. I mean, East County is my hood. And I know you bash Lakeside sometimes, but let me tell you, you can't find any of that in Lakeside. So I think Vista's undervalued.
I like where your head's at. I do. I agree. I think it's one of those places that, people haven't, it's not as promoted. It's not as well branded of an area. It's kind of a secret. The people there, they don't want anyone coming. So they're like this, they're like, no, shh, don't tell anyone.
And Vista's such a diverse neighborhood. It's got rural areas, it's got developments, it's got neighborhoods. It's so diverse. You can go all over. I've sold a few up there last year, and I was just amazed at the different, even the topography there through Vista and everything. But Vista reminds me of like what Santee was years ago. Remember when Santee, nobody wanted to live there? I mean, that's when I moved there. That's what I could afford. Raised my family there, and Santee now is the place everybody wants to be.
It's wild.
And I think Vista kind of has that reputation a little bit because it's got some seedy areas. I know that, but that's my pick.
Okay, Vista it is. Jay, what do you think? What's the most undervalued area in San Diego right now?
This is the one question I was hoping my internet would go out for before you got to me.
Be bold, Jay. Be bold.
I didn't even think about Vista. I think and then you brought that up. I was like, oh, that's pretty cheap. 5 minutes from the beach. All right. And
you thinking of moving? I know a great realtor.
I have like 4,000 realtor friends. I don't know which one I'll use first. The hardest thing for me with this question is undervalued or undermarketed.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, there's some really good, quiet neighborhoods that used to be really bad neighborhoods that aren't bad anymore. And for me, it's Paradise Hills.
Okay.
The reason I picked Paradise Hills is from a lot of Paradise Hills, you can see downtown.
Yep.
You can see the Coronado Bridge. You can see the bay. And it's an older area. So really not a lot of HOAs, no Mellorews. So you're not paying all that extra money to somebody else. And you can get, houses in the 500,000s that have 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, 2 to 3 car garage, and a yard. and you can get them for under 600,000 sometimes. You know, it just depends. They might need a little updating, but I mean, if you're getting a killer deal on a good structure, I would go for that. You know, it seems like, you know, in the late 90s, early 2000s, that's when all the violence and all the drugs and all the crime was happening in Paradise Hills. But now we're in 2020 and all the crimes moved to Eastlake. I mean, as far as the South Bay is concerned, like, you know, so like Paradise Hills is where all the old folks are. Everybody's hanging out outside on their patios, having a coffee or a tea, and then, you know, all the trouble's down in Eastlake now. You know, so it's like all those people that were causing the trouble in Paradise Hills, they are now grown and moved to Eastlake, and now their kids are causing problems. So it's just, you know, I really think like Paradise Hills is kind of the hidden gem that like not a lot of people are talking about. You know, people go, oh, but it's Paradise Hills, and I'm like, dude, there hasn't been a shooting in Paradise Hills in over 10 years. Like, you know, it's not bad anymore.
Changed.
Yeah, like you don't see the crackheads walking up and down the street anymore like you used to. Like it's all gone. You know, like Logan got gentrified. You don't even have to gentrify Paradise Hills. You just got to update the houses. You know, the houses have good structures. They have big yards. You know, some of them have views. Some of them are gorgeous. Some need a lot of work. But for me, it's a great bang for the buck. It's really central. It's by 3 freeways. You can get anywhere in San Diego in about 20 minutes.
And that's the same thing that we were talking about that happened with Santee. Had a bad reputation for a long time, and that allowed people to get in. And has since they've got the right leadership there from the governmental standpoint. You know, the local government there has just done a really good job getting business in and doing the right things. And it's changed. You have to reset your mindset because the market's going to move whether you change, you know, catch up to it or not. So you just have to know things like this. So this is great. So Vista and Paradise Hills. Sarah, what do you think? What's your most undervalued area in San Diego?
So 6 months ago, I would have said La Mesa, but not anymore. I think Rolando. I think Rolando doesn't get enough credit. Borders La Mesa, smashed in between SDSU. Very similar houses to La Mesa. But just no action. I mean, you could still buy something there in the 5s, and it's, you know, they're nice neighborhoods. They're really easily accessible to the 8, and you don't have to go all the way east to El Cajon or Santee. Well, there's nothing in the 5s in Santee anymore, but if I had to go, if we're just in San Diego, but I know that with this work from home, a lot more people are moving north. And so I totally agree with Leslie on Vista. I think parts of San Marcos too. But my eye for my clients is on Menifee. Menifee's doing a lot. So if you're working from home and commute's not an issue and you don't want to live in San Diego, 375 buys you a real nice 5-bed new build up there. So with low HOA.
Wow. So we got a bonus. We get a bonus area there. It's a twofer. A twofer from Sarah. She stretches us outside of San Diego County, but hey, Riverside County. The only thing with Menifee is just keep an eye on the taxes.
Yeah.
Keep an eye on the taxes. Make sure you're aware of the taxes on these homes when you look at them, and that can play a role. You know, sometimes the taxes are higher up there, which is why there's such good schools. You know, they have really, really good school, a lot better than what I realized. Really, the whole area of Riverside County has really good schools, but it's because they've taxed it appropriately and got the money that they needed. Some of these areas we're talking about may not have great schools, you know, but a lot of times the best places to invest in real estate are places that are undervalued, or they're not going to have great schools yet. It takes a while for that tax money to come in, and then they build the infrastructure with that money. So for me, you know, the most undervalued area in San Diego County has been for quite some time West Chula Vista, Old Chula. And the reason there is because it's the only place probably in the world where you'll see that it's cheaper the closer you get to the water. I mean, east is supposed to be less expensive, right? And then go west, it's more expensive. And it's kind of flipped down Chula Vista because of all the development that took place in Eastlake and Otay Ranch. All the new construction that took place out there has really catapulted that. It's great. You know, the new construction is great. The schools over there are amazing. But over the west, just kind of left alone, that is going to work itself out. You're seeing a little bit of redevelopment going over there, a little bit of rehabbing, a little bit of gentrification, just a little bit starting to happen there. There's also a bunch of money that's been allocated to be spent on that waterfront area, billions, and that's going to be taking place. Yeah, that's going to be taking place. So, if you really want to put some money to work, on some real estate, I think West Chula Vista is something that's got to be looked at. And the homes are a little bit older over there, and
That's
you
where
might
I
want
grew
to buy
up.
one fixed up. But
That's where I grew up. So
is that really?
Mhm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, take a trip down memory
1133
lane one of these
Helix
days.
Avenue. Huh?
Take a trip down memory lane one of these days. It's not what you think. Like
I just sold one down there.
Oh, really?
Well, it was a condo that had been put on where some houses were, and I drove through my old neighborhood. Oh my gosh, it was crazy. Yeah, it was really fun. So.
Well, I hadn't been to Old Chula or Main Street or anything in a long time until not that long ago. It'd been several years. I was kind of blown away how it's coming together. It's coming together slowly. So these places we're talking about here that are undervalued, they're not going to already be there. If you want a place that's already there, then you go ahead and go to Carmel Valley or something like that, and you pay top dollar, and it is what it is. If you want to get into a place that's got room to move, then these are the places that you have to look at. And for those of you who are buyers that have a circumstantial advantage, meaning that, so you don't have kids yet, they're in the works or they're in the plans, but you're 6, 7, 8 years away from needing to have good school districts. Some of these places might be a great place to go and buy and get a good investment. And maybe the schools will get there by the time you need them. And if they don't, by that time that 6, 8 years, 10 years has passed, you're going to have some money in the bank on that house. So that might be a really good opportunity. Anybody else have any thoughts on areas that might be undervalued in San Diego?
City Heights.
City Heights was just on the Inman report. Did you see that?
No.
You didn't see the Inman report? So Inman.com, real estate website, it said these are the top 11 places to put money to work on real estate. And number 3 was City Heights, San Diego.
I lived in Normal Heights when Normal Heights was gentrifying. And it was scary. The first year we lived there for 2.5 years. And by our 3rd year, home prices has gone up 16% since we had lived there. And so I see City Heights. There's so much. I just sold one on McClintock and Normal Heights, which is right on the border between, like once you get to 40th, then you start getting into City Heights. And there's so much new development, these huge, rental units. And so it's going that way. It's going to be like North Park was 10 years ago between Normal Heights and City Heights eventually.
Yep, agree. Well, this has been great, guys. Thank you so much for taking your time today to share your knowledge on the real estate market. Help us make San Diego smarter than everyone else. I really appreciate all of your time and hard work on this. It really means a lot. And hey, if you're watching this right now, share this video. Let's help make the rest of San Diego smarter when it comes to real estate. Thank you guys for your time. Take care.
Bye.